I have been following Grand Prix racing for the better part of 3 decades now, and one thing I've seen from that, any new manufacturer which comes in has a certain gestation period, but everyone wants results very quickly. Very importantly, you have made a commitment, which is good, and I always see it across, like how Soichiro Honda used to say that if any one of his managers had to climb the top step of the podium in the management of the company, he had to go through the cauldron of Grand Prix racing. So if you see, all Honda's CEOs have come up through the ranks with HRC and then climbed to be the CEOs of Honda Motor Company. I don't say that we want to see a new CEO soon or anything, but how do you get these young engineers, the management guys? Don't you think that you ought to put some of the local Indian talent also in managing the team, getting hands-on with the technology there, because it's so alien to your everyday products here?
Absolutely. Well, young Mufaddal, who is our management principal here, team principal, will be very happy to hear your words that Honda made this a fast track to the top. We also have now strongly engaged with them, with the team and with Alberto's people. We also have Prashant Kamath of Mahindra Engineering Services, which is part of the Systex sector, but focuses specifically on providing engineering services to third parties around the world, and they are very much involved. We have also involved Dilbar Gill from Mahindra Satyam, who is now working both with Mahindra Satyam and Mahindra on sporting events. So we are bringing some very eclectic resources in, apart from really management inputs. We've got technology inputs from our group companies, and we've got experience in sports management.
Anand, I see that you are not shy of taking help when you don't have it or don't have the expertise, and you're going to overall engineering is really a key attribute in that. Can you shed some light?
If you remember that my first job in M&M, along with some other portfolios, was R&D, and when we created the DI engine for both auto and farm business, we took significant help from AVL. So you're absolutely right. We don't try to reinvent the wheel. But our goal always, Adil, is that wherever we start from, the end point must always be a development of competence which is at home with us. Now that's not because of some patriotic philosophy of self-reliance. It's not self-reliance as a philosophical ideal. It's simply because that's where the maximum bang for the buck comes for us, where we can get cost competitive if technology is domiciled within our company.
I must tell the viewers about overall engineering, because it has at its head one of the world's leading engine designers, Mauro Foggieri, who was the architect of Ferrari's Formula One successes with a 3-liter flat 12 engine in the years of Niki Lauda and Clay Regazzoni. So overall engineering has devised this engine for Mahindra, and I think when you have got a past master with Ferrari putting its own key elements into that engine, I think the future is looking rather good for keen competition on the Moto3 circuits this year.
Absolutely, but I would want to specify again, Adil, that although they are being taken on as a technology provider, when the engine is done, it will not be only the order engine.
Sure.
It is it's a tripartite kind of initiative where the engine will be developed with their help, but by Engines Engineering and with substantial inputs also from Mahindra Engineering Services. So I think we are coming out with a new animal completely, and I hope that again, that convergence of talent will result in something that will make us proud.
There's also another business angle to it, because the rules now specify that a team coming in should also be capable enough of selling its engines to other teams.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of other private teams have shown interest in your engine.
I was very excited to hear that, frankly, and I'm in dialogue with Mufaddal constantly as to how that is going. Yes, let me be honest, it would be a matter of pride if another international racing team in MotoGP in fact decided to use our engine, if not our bike, in its entirety. That would be a separate moment of pride, quite apart from having our brand on a racing team and a constructor's labor.
Very important, you go racing with the two-wheelers, but you've been so strong with four-wheelers. Ever hazard a try in the Paris-Dakar rally raid, because that's where your core competency lies with SUVs?
Let me be very honest with you, and I'll be blunt and forthright in saying it, we intend to be there. There is no way that Mahindra can aspire to be a globally recognized brand in the field of utility vehicles and not be a participant in Paris-Dakar. As you know, Paris-Dakar will be in Latin America next year throughout. And interestingly... And
that's your biggest market.
Yeah, biggest market. Nobody really knows. It's funny. They still use the title Paris-Dakar.
Yeah, but it's
not in Paris or Dakar. It is in Latin America. And it traverses two countries which we are very strong in. Chile and Peru is part of the initiative. And in fact, all of Mercosur is one of our targets. So this could not be better for us. But we want to go in a measured way. Yes. Will you see Mahindra and a combination of Mahindra, SsangYong and Paris-Dakar? No doubt. When? I cannot tell you right now. It is not decided, but we are working on it, let me assure you.
You have created a buzz amongst Indians. The time is right in this country where motorsport is getting a fair share of eyeballs. People are listening and they say there's life after cricket after all. Do you think that Mahindra Racing will try and develop some grassroots level sport here?
It's a very important question that you asked, Adil. And let me be honest, yes, we have very humbly stumbled upon the magnitude of interest in this sport. I mean, you think about it, we are not yet by any stretch of the imagination.
You're already 19 races old.
No, forget the races, even in the two-wheeler business. We are just fledgling entries and it's a long road there. And yet, our Facebook page gets over 130,000 followers. I don't know where it is, but if you look it up, some of the big boys in the world don't have so many followers. But what that means is there's a huge expectation. And the maximum amount of questions I get on Twitter from younger people is, when are you going to bring an Indian driver? And I think it's a fair question. They also don't want us to lose out and not be effective at that cost. So one has to be realistic that there aren't any Indian riders yet who are up to the challenge. Do we intend to nurture some? Yes. I dare say, and there are some plans in the works. I think it would be premature to talk about it now. But in a very short while, Adil, you may get to hear some good news about how we plan to nurture an Indian rider so that he becomes up to the mark for participating in the big prize in the Moto 3 and Moto GPs. As far as other races are concerned, yes, I don't have any concrete plans, but we are looking to see how we, if not alone, but in association with people like Dorna and other sponsors, how we can create some satellite events which begin to feed this enormous appetite there is for seeing some motor racing excitement.
So Anand, final two questions. One is, realistically, what is the one defining element you would like to see next year on the circuit? A podium, a win?
Adil, how can I lie to you? Obviously, you know, you and I are both going to be weeping if we see an Indian team up on the podium.
Absolutely.
But that's
Absolutely.
For sure. So that's the aspiration. What is my prediction? Well, I'm not an astrologer. We're just good old managers who slave away. We try and put in the best elements. We try and give all the resources we can. At the end of the day, Adil, this is a sport. And you asked some time ago, but though it was not a pointed question, you talked about how people want everything to happen tomorrow and they want success right away. I'm not that foolish and I'm not that demanding. I think you have to drive, you have to ensure that you've done your best and you put in all the resources you can. And you want no excuse performance. But at the end of the day, this is a sport.
So how do your three new pillars, this RISE movement, how do they get married to the racing effort?
You know, I'm delighted you asked this question. I was least prepared for it because I almost associate that with management interviews. But you're right, all three of the pillars apply. Accept no limits. Well, frankly, that's why we got into it. Otherwise, there were nothing but limits on the horizon as to why somebody from India, who's not even a well-known and established two-wheeler player, should get into this. So we accepted no limits. We said the timing is now. There is an opportunity. Let's do it. When you talk about innovation, well, you refer to one of them. How we build our chassis, how we build our engines. And just the gumption to go in and say we're going to be constructors, not simply sponsors of a team, not simply brand pushers.
We're just putting a sticker on it.
We're not putting a sticker. This is our team. This is the core of Indian technology. And finally, driving positive change. That might be the trickiest one to apply, but I'll tell you how I see it. It is in line with driving positive change because you are giving the bulk of India, 50% of our population under 25, excitement, self-esteem, and the thrill of participating in a global arena.
Something to aim for.
That's driving positive change.
Thanks, Anand. Wish you all success next year. It has something to say about Mahindras and not about Mahindra Racing alone, because as we know, there's a lot involved behind a racing team. It's technology, it's information services, logistics, design, man management, so much which is really packed into seeing two bikes out on the grid, try and win it against giants like Honda, Yamaha, Aprilia, KTM. For an Indian company to fly the flag, it's really awesome. Thanks, Anand, and I hope you deserve and will get the success next year.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.